This episode of the Mad Rush podcast.
Because it's so much more than the clothes, right? And the outfits that the kids get. It's emotional. There's a lot of feelings that go into rushing. For the moms too, by the way. I always say, because some woman was like, oh my God, relax. Your daughter is rushing a sorority. Like, why are you praying so much? And I can't tell you how I got caught up in it, but I got caught up in it and I was worried and I was checking Life 360, just hoping for the best for her. And she did it and she got her dream sorority. And now I feel like I'm like this wannabe.
Welcome to the Mad Rush podcast. I'm Trisha Addix, the original sorority rush consultant. While the stories I have to share are nothing short of astonishing, this podcast goes beyond the wild client tales and sorority life. I'll be engaging with fascinating guests from both within and outside the Greek world, uncovering the surprising connections that bind us all together. Join me for a journey that's as entertaining as it is enlightening. Welcome to Mad Rush. Y'all, I am so excited. My book, The Rush Bible, is available for pre-order from Simon & Schuster. It's coming out next May, but you can order it now, and it's going to be great for anyone who's considering going through sorority rush. This is the book for you. You can order it today. The link is in the show notes, and it's also on my Instagram at Rush with Confidence. And I can't wait to get this great information on how to crush sorority rush out to all of you. Anyway, thank you for listening, and I appreciate you. Y'all, we are in for a treat today. You know, we've been in the thick of it. Rush, all the things, and some much needed levity, but with also some real-time advice. I have my friend Catie Keogh, who was one of my first podcast guests, and now she's back, empty nesting, and she is hilarious, and she's also spot on. So on Instagram, she's at Catie Keogh, but you might know her as the college mom. She does hilarious bits about her child going to college and rushing and all the things. So welcome. Thank you for being here again.
Well, thank you for having me.
So you just told me that you re-listened to our original podcast, and that brings up something pretty funny. So I will record a podcast, like I record this podcast. We will record this today, as we are doing. And then tomorrow, I will not remember anything that we talked about. Yeah. And so what happens, this is so great for me, is that when I listen to it in just a week's time, it's going to be all fresh and new. So I should have probably listened to our old podcast again as well.
Well, it's interesting to see where you were a year ago versus now. And it was interesting just listening to it a year later made such a difference for me. And I thought, wow, I was so new and I didn't know, I was so scared and worried for my daughter. And now the second year you kind of go in, you've got more confidence and kind of know what to expect.
All right. So let's talk about what a difference a year has made for you. So you just dropped off your daughter, active sorority member, for the second time at TCU. And I would love to talk about your year. We only have about 30 minutes, but I want to hear about your year.
Well, first of all, dropping her off recently it's still hard. It's easier though. And I always tell women going in, it gets easier the second year. This year it's just as stressful. I mean, these girls, the first year they go in, they're trying to find the house. You're just so worried for them. The second year, they're exhausted. They're going nonstop. They're giving, rush to these girls, but it's stressful for them too, because they have to make decisions and they might like certain girls, but other girls in the house didn't like the girls. And it was stressful for my daughter. So I felt like I was coaching this year, and also I was coaching a lot of mothers this year. I was on the phone that week of rush all week, just trying to talk to moms, trying to kind of be a resource for them, because somebody did that for me when I was going through it. And I'm like, it's my turn to kind of give back. And so that was interesting. I kind of found myself in a coach role a little bit, just knowing.
So explain more like what those conversations look like. I'm just curious.
Oh, gosh. I mean, to me, these moms, and again, I could almost cry because I was so in the thick of it a year ago, and then you go back. It's like PTSD. It's like, oh my God. it's all over again. I'm going back to this moment of where my daughter was, where I was. And so a lot of women were saying, okay, what happens if she got this house? Or okay, it's down to this house, but she doesn't know if she wants the second house. And it was a lot of those conversations. Also, do they go for bid day? That was a big one. People are like, my daughter's, and my advice to them is, you know your daughter best. Some girls don't need their moms there, or some girls don't need their moms holding their hand as much that week. But there are other girls who need that. So for us personally, I flew in for a bid day because I wasn't sure if it was going to go south, so to speak. I didn't know if she was going to get dropped. I didn't. So my one girlfriend told me, go, because it'll either be the best day of her college life or maybe potentially not a great day of her college life. So either way, you'll be there for her. That was great advice. So I had a mom whose daughter got dropped and completely. And that's, I'm like, I was crying with the mom.
Yeah.
Because the daughter's crying. She's like, why didn't I take your advice? This woman lives in Chicago, and she's like, I should have flown. I should have flown to go be with my daughter. So she ended up going like Sunday. The daughter got dropped, didn't get a house. It was just devastating. And I was like, and that's the hardest part for me, because there's so much joy in being in a sorority. Once you get it, then you're like, it's all good. But that week, the 2 weeks, I think, leading up to it, and it is tough. And nobody tells you about that.
Yeah. And shameless book plug, but there is a lot about that in my book, The Rush Bible, coming out in May.
Yeah, it's so good.
But that is something that, and parents, it's a really hard week for parents, for a lot of parents. Some people are I don't know how they're wired like this, but they're just like, oh, it's going to work out.
Yeah.
They're very, very, very few and far between. And I'm so glad that you did that for your friends and for people, because, that's what we do. It's a lot of helping people understand what's actually happening and I want to hear more about, the other side, because that is a thing that a lot of people don't realize. They're mad at a sorority if they get dropped or whatever. But the girls on the other side, they're real people. They want this to work. They do. It's just a really tough process. And it's a tough process with the number of people that are going through Rush. And you could love someone so much, and it doesn't even matter. Your sorority sisters might not dislike her, but then they're pushing for someone else that they have a connection with. And so that's, trying to help people understand that that's what's going on. It's not like a conspiracy that someone is trying to, work actively against your daughter, but it's a hard thing to understand, especially if your daughter got dropped out, completely. Is she going through COB?
Okay, so she got a bid, but she
got a snap bid.
She got a snap bid, but she didn't want that bid, and she did. She was so sad. And the worst part was by the way, she was basically told that she was going a certain house the entire time, all summer. Yes. You're our girl. So she was pretty confident going in, and her mom was like, "Thanks for checking in on me. Everything's going great." And then it didn't. And so that was a hard thing. Right. Then all her friends that she kind of came with or knew from her dorm all went a certain sorority. And she felt so left out, and that's the hardest part as a mom. And that's where I could cry, because you're like, you just want someone to say, my daughter's great. Like every mom thinks every daughter is great. You think your daughter is the best. And I just was heartbroken for that mom. I still am. In fact, I have my daughter going to lunch with her. I'm like, she needs friends. Oh, why am I crying? It is so emotional. But this girl needs friends right now. And it's like, at the end of the day, after a few weeks, it's like they're still friends with all the different sorority girls. At least in my daughter's college, they're friends with all the different houses. It's just those first 2 weeks. So I always tell people, if you could hold on for 2 weeks and then maybe go in the spring or go in the fall again next year, just hold on. Try to get a couple girls. All you need is one friend.
Right.
One friend who's going to take you with them, because these girls feel so left out. And that's the hard part for me. But there is so much joy too. There's a lot of joy too, but there are some parts that not everyone gets it. That's the hard part.
Yeah.
And I'm done crying. I don't know if it's my hormones. I still have PTSD. I'm not sure.
It's exactly why I do what I do, because I lived this. And last week on my podcast, I had a girl who ran home to the house that she also thought she was going to be in this one sorority. and I'm going to talk about bid promising in a minute, but she was blindsided when she opened her envelope. And so, but she really put in the effort. And so she ended up being great. But if you don't have any sorority and you didn't get a SNAP bid or going through the COB process, I would encourage that person, and she can reach out to me too, to go through COB, sign up for COB, which is...
Explain that to me. What's COB mean?
Okay, COB is continuous open bidding. So what happens is there's something called SNAP bid, which is what she got. And that is usually people who don't make their pledge class quota. And that bid is extended before bid day or on bid day so that the person can experience bid day. But those are rare, and they're usually people who, if you've dropped the sorority, a lot of times people don't want those SNAP bids. Yeah. So what happens after that is she is going to sign up for what's called continuous open bidding, or she should. And then if spaces open up in the chapter throughout the year, they can extend a continuous open bid. And so that means if someone graduates or if people drop, then she needs to be proactive in that. And so it's very possible that she could get a continuous open bid anytime through the year. It's a marathon, not a sprint.
But would the other girls kind of feel like maybe she wasn't a part of the pledge? Like how long, like can she get it at any point, or does there like a cutoff? Okay. So she could get it 2 months from now?
Absolutely. And that's, so like a lot of seniors graduate in December. I mean, I don't, specific, and it varies school to school. And sometimes some sororities will just say, no, we're not going to do any continuous open bids. But there are a lot of really great sororities at a lot of schools who do this because it's in their best interest to keep their chapter total at the maximum level for finances, appearances, all that stuff. So it's a really viable thing. And I do a lot of coaching after the fact on this. Oh,
that's good. And I have to tell you, what you do is it's really so needed. And I didn't know how important your job was or how important this, until you're in it, you have no idea what you need. And kind of like having someone with you who's coaching the whole way, because it's so much more than the clothes, right? And the outfits that the kids get. It is so much more than that. It's emotional. There's a lot of feelings that go into rushing for the moms too, by the way.
Yes.
I always say, because some woman was like, oh my God, relax. Your daughter is rushing a sorority. Like, why are you praying so much? And I don't know. I can't tell you how I got caught up in it, but I got caught up in it. And I was worried, and I was checking Life 360, and I was doing everything I could to be like, just hoping for the best for her. And she did it. And she got that house, truly her dream sorority. And now I feel like I'm like this wannabe. I was never in a sorority, but now I'm like, gosh, I wish I had done it, because I just think it is such a great way to meet friends, especially in certain sororities. Not every college has a big Greek life, but if you're going to a school with a big Greek life, it is, and it's important to you, it's an important couple weeks. So what you do is fantastic. And
thank you very much. And
such a great resource.
It is definitely a labor of love. And I do think, and I will say this till I'm blue in the face, that these girls put this effort into getting into college and then just think that getting into sorority is going to work out. Sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. But preparing, you don't want to drop that ball because it is so important. And it's so important. I mean, if you want to be in Greek life, not everyone wants to be in Greek life, but if that's what you want, you have to put in the effort. And
okay, I have a question for you. Did you hear how SMU is doing it this year? Okay, so they're going through Rush shortly, but they're having like parties beforehand, a week before. Did you hear about this? And then the second week is like where they do the, I don't know what you call it, like the more
formal rush. Yes.
Formal rush.
We have clients at SMU right now.
What do you think about that?
I think that's a good question. I haven't really put much thought into it, except for just my clients are like, yeah, we're going to a bunch of parties.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think it's probably good. I think SMU Rush is very tough because there are only 7 sororities. Greek life is very important there. And of those 7, there are 2 that really struggle with Rush. So you're looking at 5 sororities. Not saying that the other two aren't worth anything. I'm just saying they struggle with rush traditionally, which is a self-fulfilling prophecy. It means that if they struggle filling a pledge class each year, then that compounds yearly.
Right.
So it's definitely a good way so that they can get to know these girls before formal rush. I would be curious to see, and I have not heard from my clients, if there's any bid promising going on.
There is. I believe so. Sorry,
yeah,
I don't need to out anybody. But I think there is. And I just talked to a couple people and I thought, oh my gosh, but they can't, but I know they can't legally do that. But I had heard this. Yeah. Well, I shouldn't probably.
It makes sense. That tracks. It's a lot like that sounds to me. And from talking to my clients, it sounds a lot more like fraternity rush, which is there's a lot of under the table bids going on in fraternity rush. And then formal rush is merely that. It's a formality. And so that's what it sounds like to me. Again, I'm not sure that that's bid promising. Yeah. So let's go to bid promising. So I have had a couple people more than a couple, reach out to me after rush. And they're like, I don't understand. Like, I was told all summer and I was told all during rush, I had a bid. And if you're out there listening and you're a parent or a girl going through rush, or on the other side, bid promising is not something that is always feasible, because the person telling you that you're a shoo-in, or the person telling you that you're definitely going to be on their lawn, there are a lot of other factors that go in. So I really would caution you from listening to that and still keep an open mind during rush, because it doesn't always work out. More times than not, it doesn't work out.
Yeah, I would think that's pretty intense at SMU. Only 7 sororities. Wow. And by the way, our daughter's class this year was a lot bigger. Well, not a lot bigger. I think she had like 70 something last year. And this year they had 90 something. So what did you see? The numbers too, did you see like it changed quite a bit?
Yeah. So they had 1,231 girls go through rush. And there are...
At TCU or?
At TCU. There are 13 sororities. So let's do 1,231 divided by 13. I should probably do this not on the podcast, but 1 divided by 13. 94. So that's good that they upped. So almost 95 would be the number if everybody got a house. Okay. So that's pretty great on TCU's part, meaning that they upped the quota just because the numbers increased. So that's a good thing.
One thing I was impressed with TCU this year was their professionalism. Like, I don't know if it was the president of our daughter's house specifically, but they were very formal, very professional. The girls had to follow a lot of protocols. And I was really impressed with that because, again, I was seeing it from a different perspective this year. And my daughter was kind of calling me here and there, kind of giving me updates and whatnot. But I thought, they did a really good job at the Kappa House at TCU professionally.
Yes. And that is something that's a great point. Okay. So if you guys don't think that sorority girls can rule the world, I mean, these are young women who are managing huge numbers of people, and they're professional, and they're very, 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 I don't know what the right word is. They're putting in the effort, but they're putting the effort in a very thoughtful, professional way that gives respect to the process, as well as it gives respect to the people going through rush. And that is something that I don't think a lot of people recognize.
Yeah, I was really impressed with that. And I kept telling my daughter, I'm like, remember, the girls who are walking into that house are nervous. They're scared. They may really want your house. Just try to treat them, just try to give them as much just love as you can. I was just trying to tell. And my daughter knows that. She's really good at, that. But it was like,
I can these see girls,
why. Well, these girls are really insecure. I'm like, so just remember, just go in with that open heart of, being kind to them. And she's like, yeah, she was kind of going through with what they were told to do and the instructions.
Well, like, give me an example.
Yeah.
You don't have to if it's something proprietary. I mean, I kind of know the answer, but I was wondering if there was anything that you could say that you thought that struck you as really
little as just like no chewing gum, no like,
Right.
Looking a certain way, coming across, this is who our brand is. And you guys really need to be respectful of these young girls coming in. And so they had some rules that they had to do, and because Kappa takes it very seriously. So I felt like that was amazing on their end. It's like, this is our image. And I just felt like they were so professional and really took it seriously. So anyways,
Yes.
yeah, but my daughter called a few times, kind of upset. She's like, I really like this one girl, Mom. And I was trying to get everyone else to like meet her and, and introduce her to people. And so, but it's hard because she's just one vote,
Right.
and that's the hardest thing. And they got quite a few Midwestern girls. So I was like very excited.
Yay,
I was like,
yes.
Yeah, they did, because, that's our biggest struggle coming from the Midwest is like these Southern houses sometimes are really hard to break into. And I felt like, again, their direction, they took girls from, all over the U.S. And I appreciated that as a Midwestern mom.
Yes. And that's increasingly, TCU is one of the several, well, more than several, but one of the schools where people really want to go there. I mean, TCU is so popular now. And there are a lot of reasons for that. It's a great school, but it's got the Southern vibe. It's not as huge, all the things, but it also makes pledge classes more diverse. And I love that because, you don't want to just be doing the same thing, just all Southern people, whatever. That's not what makes it so special.
Well, exactly. I agree, because everyone brings a uniqueness to it. But I also think too, like one thing I love about TCU, and I'll just brag on it for 1 second. I just feel like it's a real family school, and I feel like it's like you don't just get a student, you get the family, and I've felt that since day one. I've had women connect with me in a way, and I'm so thankful for that community, because that's another thing nobody tells you about. It's like you still want community, even though your kid is going to that college. It's a part of who you are too, and it's so hard to let go of your kid, in general. And so we were very welcome there in the family. And that's what people say, welcome to the family at TCU. Yeah. I love that.
I remember when someone reached out to me after Spring Rush last year and at a school, and their daughter had an unsuccessful rush, and it was crushing to the whole family because they were like, wait, we were going to go to parents' weekends, and we were going to, we scheduled all this for, this fall, and it's a tight-knit community. The Greek community is tight-knit for everybody.
Yeah, that's what I love too, going to those, because we've got parents' weekend coming up. And so I'm excited for that, because I'm going to meet
your outfits picked out?
Oh no, I'm going to. I got to do that. Any recommendations?
Oh yeah, sure. I got lots.
Yeah. What are you thinking? Just dresses in the South.
Yeah, dresses. Yeah, I love Cara. Cara is a great brand.
Okay, well, you have to let me know that. This is funny. So this Midwestern store up here in Chicago, they said, we've got all your game day outfits. Check out game day outfits, right?
I know where you're going with this.
Here's the difference between the Midwest and the South. The Midwest, it was like sweatshirts. It was like, oh, the team sweat. And I was laughing, because I thought, that is not the South, girl. You get your cute dress and maybe your college earrings, but like you bring it. And that's another thing I didn't know about until I got there, how it is like you dress up in the South, not opposite in the Midwest. You wear your sweatshirt.
I do remember that from our last podcast. We were talking about what your husband was going to wear. And I was like, get a purple polo, get a, Onward Reserve purple polo. And
he stepped in, by the way. My husband bought a ridiculous purple blazer. I mean, it's nice, but he'll never wear it again. And it's like a purple blazer. He spent way too much. And I'm like, why would you do that? He's like, I don't know. All the guys had purple blazers down there, because they that's the color of TCU is purple. So it's like this lavender blazer. And I'm like, okay, he's stepping into his role.
That's awesome. Yeah, he's stepping into his role easily. Yeah.
Although this year I'm not. I feel like last year I was wearing everything because I was like, yay, TCU. I was really drinking the Kool-Aid, the purple Kool-Aid. But now I feel like this year I don't know if I'm going to do those colors. I think I'm going to do just a little bit more of me. Still a cute dress, but I don't know if I'm going to do all the colors.
I do think that, like anything else, the more you're in it, like the subtle, obviously I went to Georgia, not obviously, but I think if you're listening, you probably know that. But So I used to wear black and red and have a big bulldog, not a sweatshirt, never a sweatshirt. It was always elevated. But now I kind of just go for like black because I love to wear black, or I don't really go. And I have a really close friend who is an Auburn grad, and she'll wear something that's maybe like subtly Auburn, but not like it maybe navy with like a little yellow and maybe a tiny bit of orange, that kind of stuff. But yeah, the subtlety of it is, the more you go into it. But yeah, the freshman people are like full on purple.
My gosh, I could not handle it last year. First of all, it was 100 degrees in Fort Worth. And so I was literally dying. They have these parties in the alleys there. It's like a lot of their tailgating is in the alleys. Okay. So then
no
you're
wind.
like, no wind, you're on like cement. And I just remember being like, I literally stood by the beer cooler with all the ice and just put my wrists in there. I'm like, I'm good. I'll be here. And then the game, we were dying of heat. So, and then another thing I have to get better at is becoming a professional tailgater. Because that's like a job in itself. Yeah. That's exhausting. I'd rather go shopping and go to lunch and then maybe casually go to the game. But like they start early. It's hard to keep up.
Yes. I was talking to someone about that yesterday. One of our clients' moms, her daughter just pledged at Ole Miss this weekend. And I was like, all right, now you got to find your Grove spot. Like you got to, connect with, people have had certain tents in the Grove for, passed down for generations.
Isn't that amazing? Yeah, TCU is a bit like that too. And actually, I was going to rent one. You want to hear how what an amateur I was? I was like, maybe I'll rent a tent.
I was about to say.
So I was like, I'm going to rent a tent, and then I'll have a little meetup with some of my new friends. And it was like $5,000, which was that was for nothing. And I was like, oh, girl, we're going to meet at a bar. We're going to have a meetup by the bar because it was really expensive. And that was just, I didn't even get into like food being catered and everything else. I'm like, it's a thing. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, it is. The tailgating is a thing.
So I need to find friends.
Yes.
Friends who have a tailgating party already set up.
Our younger son went to Ole Miss, and we were very fortunate that, we met some great friends early on, and they had a tent from Memphis, and we went to the Memphis tent. They're a Memphis tent. There are a bunch of Memphis tents.
It's like my dad always says, you don't buy the boat, you go on your friend's boat. Never buy a boat, go on your friend's boat. Kind of same thinking.
That's good advice. Yeah. So before we end, will you just tell me what it was like, the overall takeaway for your daughter and for you this year as a second year mom, daughter? And you don't have to say anything about your daughter that you don't want to. I think it's important for people to hear what it's like, because they're in the thick of it now and they just can't see the forest for the trees. Yeah.
Well, first of all, the first year was hard. Leaving her is hard. Being away from her is hard. And then going through the rush, you're just heightened emotions in every level your first year. Second year, you're more relaxed. Like my daughter got all these outfits. I didn't even really help her. I kind of looked at a few, but like she was on her own this year. That's interesting because they become so much more independent that second year, and they don't need you as much.
And clarify too, the outfits, like the outfits are dictated by the sorority pretty much.
Right. So they have,
explain that.
Yeah, so they have a work week and they'll have themes. Like one of the work weeks was like a racing car. One was jeans, and so they have to get pretty creative, painting their like overalls and then they had one that's like and then because they're doing all these TikToks, so they have different themes. So that I thought was fun, but she did it all on her own. Thank goodness for Amazon. Amazoned everything. I have more packages coming to my house this summer, But yeah, so that was fun. And then watching it come together on TikTok is so much fun as a parent your second year.
Yes.
Because who isn't obsessed with the TikTok videos? So I'm obsessed. And there's just some guy I've been like obsessed with lately. He just is like, he's made himself like the guy who's talking about all the rush dances. And, but for me, like I lived for their TikToks. Every day they would put a new one out that week of work week. And I was like, my daughter made quite a few of them. And I was like, oh my gosh. So that is so much fun as a second year, because now you're looking for your kid in these videos and you're seeing her.
Yes.
She's having a great time and she's in her element. And that's what you hope for. The first year, you're just so insecure because you don't really know. You don't want to say the wrong thing, all that. So the second year is so much fun as a mom. But I would say if you can be a resource to other mothers coming in, consider it, because they just need you. I had no clue how much these women or how much I needed them until you're going through it. And then you're like, who can I call? And I had amazing women help me. And so I tried to do that this year as well. So I would say just kind of look out for the new moms coming in because they need you and they don't think they do. But that week of actual rush and my daughter will call with updates. And I love that too. So your daughter will call you with updates. They can talk a lot more. You know, the first year going through, you barely heard from them and you're tracking them on 360, Life 360. But the second year, they're calling more, they're checking in more. And it just was so much more fun to watch this process because you're now on the other side. And so, yeah, that would be my biggest advice is, you know, just find someone that maybe you can mentor or someone mentored you, maybe consider that and then enjoy it because it's so much fun. And make sure you have TikTok because there's a lot of TikTok going on.
Yeah, and I have not had the luxury of time. I don't have the luxury of time during rush week specifically, but what I'm saying is I have a stockpile of those TikToks that I cannot wait to watch. I have one friend in particular who sends me during that time, like 20 a day. And I'm like, okay, I'm so excited to watch, but I haven't watched them, but they're so
they're
cool.
so good.
They're like
so good.
Productions and something they should be so proud of. It's very, very, very cool. And it's very addictive.
So addictive. Well, and then there's this guy on TikTok. Gosh, I wish I could remember his name. But anyways,
I know
he
who
was
you're
like,
talking about.
Yeah, he was like ranking everybody. And so like TCU was up in the ranks this year. And I'm like, like you find yourself, it's like our football. It's like our Super Bowl. You're like, okay, TCU, you're in second place. Now you're in first place. And it was really like just the girl who does my daughter's social media is so good. And I know they hire professional, I think, photographers, or unless she did it, she might have done it herself. She's just really creative. So I think that is key. If you have the right social media person in line for your sorority, you're golden. And that's such a key position these days. Yeah.
It really is. And that's something you can set yourself apart in rush. You can let them know that you know how to do that. And they'd be like, ooh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's just as good as being a cheerleader or a dancer the girl who goes up front. The creative minds behind the scenes are just as important because, they're the ones creating that content.
Yeah. And I want to go back to what you said. So something that we tell our clients, and you just said it for the moms, get a support squad in place. I'm talking, find you a Keogh, find like having someone that you can call that you trust and who's not going to give you bad information. So I worry a lot. I definitely don't worry about you doing this, but I worry a lot about I worry for moms who call the wrong people. They call somebody who supposedly dialed in and knows what's happening behind the scenes because they don't usually. Mm-hmm. And that can cause a lot of angst. So get your support squad, the person that can support you and not give you specific sorority specific advice.
I think that's great. I think that's really great advice. I was also very careful as to what I said because, they're like, oh, my daughter's going into your daughter's sorority today. And it was a lot of pressure on me too, because it's like, well, I wish her the best, but I have, you know what I mean? Like you have to really step away saying, I can't do anything, but like, good luck to her. I'm sure she'll do great. That was my biggest thing is I was just really trying to be more of a support to them, meaning kind of, it's okay that you've got this, trust your daughters, because you really can't give them any of that information because to your point, it's you don't know it. You're not in it. You're a mom outside of it. You have no idea what's going on. So that was my advice too, is I was just saying, your daughter's got this. She's just trusting the process.
No, and that's what I'm saying. I know that you did the right thing, but I'm telling people out there, don't get your advice from someone who proclaims to know what's going on or proclaims to be able to fix things.
Yeah.
You can't.
No. And I had moms. I had probably 6 moms. I'd say 6 moms. I was checking in with every day. How's it go? Do you want to talk? Yes. They all wanted to talk. At one point, my husband was kind of laughing because he's like, you're like a therapist. I'm like, I know. Yeah. I'm like talking all these ladies off the cliff. You know what I mean? And it's like, because it just is such a stressful time. And again, I was there. I've lived it. And I know how hard it is. And so your feelings are real. They're valid, And so, you just need to find a good support system or like maybe a mom who went through it at the same school is key. I think find someone who's at the school your kid is at.
Yeah, that's great advice. And
Or find you, Trish. Just call Trish. Work with you.
Don't call me.
Yeah, she's busy.
No, I'm just teasing. Not like you aren't either. But anyway, we did this before. And if you don't have one, you just gave a lot. But do you have a hashtag observation of the day?
Trust the process.
I love it. That's a good one.
And what I would also say, just let go, let God. Because for me, that's my faith. And that I really kind of trust that process. That's my process is God, right? It's like whatever is supposed to be is going to happen. And you just have to truly let go. And the second you let go, everything falls into place.
Right.
But it's so hard because we just want to control it.
Yes.
And it's like, we can't. And we just have to say, you know what? I trust this is all going to work out. And it usually does. So.
And that is very key to understand that you cannot control this. Mm-mm. We as moms cannot control this. And what we do in our business and what we do control is how you set yourself up for success. But once they're in it, they're in it. And we cannot control what happens in Rush as mom.
Mm-hmm. So as much as we want to.
As much as we want to. God, yeah. I mean, can you imagine if we could control it? That would be amazing.
I don't know, though. I don't know. There are some moms out there. For us. There are a lot of vicious moms out there. I don't know. I mean.
Oh, man. I called my editor at Simon & Schuster during Rush this week. And I said, I'm adding a chapter. I have witnessed the most horrific parenting that in all the years, I've been doing this for 30 years and for a long time before I did it as a business. And I've never witnessed anything like it. I was like, this has got to be in the book. And she was like, yeah, it does. Hold the presses. We're adding a chapter. So it just, I mean, yeah.
Did something happen, Trish? Or are we going to talk about it in your book?
It's in the book.
Okay. We'll have to wait for your book. Yeah, because that's one thing. Yeah. So, but I've had such amazing moms. I feel like I've made such friendships over it. But yeah, there are those ladies out there too.
I mean, I would say 92% are doing it right. But that 8%, they're really getting it wrong. and I'm like, wow, how could you even get it this wrong? But
yeah, well, they probably were doing it wrong back in high school too.
Yes, they were.
We all know those girls.
This person for sure.
Yeah,
has to have been doing it wrong because you can't go from doing it right to doing it this wrong. So
that's my biggest advice for my daughter is just be kind and be, just treat people the way you want to be treated. And there's so much truth to that. Even when she was going through Rush, and I kind of mentioned it, it's like just treat people the way you want to be treated. Just be kind and nice. And because she felt bad. I mean, she wanted you want so many women or so many young girls coming in, but you have to choose too. So, anyways.
That's the nature of it.
All good. Well, thank you so much for today. I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. I cannot wait y'all, I wake up and she's the first account that I go to look at. She's hilarious. She's so spot on. She's wise. And she is, above all, kind. And I am honored that you are here today. I'm honored you're my friend. And thank you.
Well, thank you. I appreciate it. And I'll see you on the gram, as they say.
Yes. See you on the gram. Okay, so because I surround myself with rock stars and because I'm leaning into Rush prep for these episodes, I'm not going to do Time Out with Trisha because that is Rush prep. So anyway, the whole episode was Rush prep. So thank you for listening. In the meantime, check out my Instagram at Rush with Confidence for more tips. We're leaning into the preparing because it's almost go time. See you next week. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of the Mad Rush Podcast. If you are enjoying this podcast, please consider leaving us a 5-star review. For additional Rush tips, updates, and more, please follow me on Instagram at Rush with Confidence. If you would like to reach out to us or for more information, please email info@madrushpod.com. This podcast is produced by Collier Landry and Don't Touch My Radio. Copyright Trisha Adams.